Is it good?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. All right. Yeah, again, thanks for the invitation. And I will kind of try to give a brief overview and flavor of how it is kind of like working in the agrochemical industry. I will start with a few slides regarding my current role, what we do in our team, and then also talk a little bit about my background, where I grew up and raised, and also my experience during grad days at Penn State, and how it helped kind of shape my career now. And in the end, I'll also try to give some kind of overview on kind of some challenges as well as opportunities of working in the industry. So again, yes, my name is Raj Singh, and I'm currently working as a senior ecotoxicologist at BASF Agricultural Solutions. And our team and myself, we perform safety testing and ecological risk assessments for crop protection products, including both the chemical pesticides as well as the biological, these entomopathogenic based or viral based kind of pesticides as well. I personally specialize on risk assessment for pollinators. That's my kind of training as well as my skill. It has been a little over 10 years. So I completed 10 years in last November with BASF. I'm very passionate about agriculture and gardening as well as pollinators and the environment. So a little bit about what we do. So BASF is a global chemical company. Its headquarters is based in Germany, but we do have research facilities all over the globe, and one of those R&D facility is in Research Triangle Park out in North Carolina, where I'm located. So I work in the global product and product safety and registration division. So farmers around the world, they depend on crop protection tools or crop protection products to control weeds, insect, and diseases, and help them kind of meet the growing demand for food and feed. Not only the biological efficacy of these products is important, but the safety is very, very kind of critical and very imperative for agricultural sustainability. So therefore, we do kind of risk assessment. We assess the potential risk to human health as well as the environment, and try to minimize any potential risk. It takes more than 10 years and almost 250 to 300 scientific studies are conducted to ensure the products which we put on the market, they meet the highest kind of safety standards. So a lot goes into the product development. So yes, I work in this environmental risk assessment team. So it is a prerequisite to put any product on the market that we have to demonstrate that this product or the active ingredient does not pose any unacceptable risk to the non-target organisms or the environment. And this non-target can be anything, can be bees, birds, or soil organisms like earthworms or aquatics. So just briefly, what risk assessment looks like. The risk assessment includes multiple kind of components. It involves problem formulation, where you kind of take into consideration what are the potential exposure route, where the product can end up. You do the toxicity testing or effect characterization. You do calculate the exposure or potential kind of exposure estimates, and then the risk is calculated. And eventually the regulators, including US EPA and other regulatory agencies throughout the globe, they measure that potential risk against the benefits of that product. And in the end, if there is still some potential risk, they will eventually put some mitigations to kind of avoid the exposure or to avoid the risk. And basically, risk is a function of two things. One is the inherent toxicity or the hazard, which is non-variable. So here is an example of sun or the UV rays from sun. They are hazardous. They can potentially cause skin cancer or other problems if person is kind of exposed. But the second component is the exposure. So if the same person is sitting under the shade or is wearing sunscreen, that exposure part is now gone. So although the inherent hazard is still there, the UV rays are still there, but the person is not exposed. And the same is true for all the chemicals. Majority of the chemicals, they have this inherent toxicity, but risk is a function of that toxicity and then the exposure. And in our group, we perform all these different kinds of tests, starting with with aquatic organisms, fish, the invertebrates. I personally specifically kind of focus on terrestrial organisms testing. We perform a whole gambit of tests on honeybees. We do testing for earthworms or other non-target insects. And then there are other specialists in our team who take care of testing for birds and mammals. So basically, ecotoxicology concept is that we have to determine the safety of our products before putting them on the market. And the ecotox assessments, they evaluate the risk, which is a function again of toxicity and exposure. And studies are, plethora of studies are conducted which follow kind of standardized testing guidelines and are done under GLP registration purposes. Now switching gear a little bit here, going back to my early years. So I grew up and was, I spent my first 25, 26 years in Punjab state of India, which is kind of rural state where the economy is basically dependent on agriculture. It's the farmers there basically grow all different kinds of crops, from oil seeds, cereals, sugarcane. In fact, in the fourth picture on the right, that's my dad kind of performing some activities at the farm, actually making kind of raw sugar out of sugarcane there. So it was, for me, it was natural helping my kind of dad on the farm and growing up on the farm. It was very natural for me to get kind of interested in or get attracted towards kind of plant protection products. In the last picture at the bottom, these my kids kind of just wandering around on the farm. So that's how my childhood was, kind of being kind of growing up on the farm in Punjab and India. So naturally, I went to this Punjab Agricultural University to pursue my undergrad degree there. And like Mario mentioned earlier, so I was the first one from my family to go to any kind of major university. I did my undergrad with focus on plant protection products. And I took a lot of courses in entomology as well as plant pathology. And after graduating there, then I kind of joined Penn State Entomology department. I did apply to different few other universities. I got acceptance from UC Berkeley as well, but there were a few reasons to kind of choose Penn State. One of my best friends from my undergrad days, he was at Penn State doing his PhD in plant breeding. And then my wife, her family was in kind of East Coast in out of Connecticut. So she wanted to stay kind of close to the family. So we decided to kind of end up at Penn State then in the Happy Valley. I learned a lot during my years, my grad years at Penn State, but there were some kind of challenges in the beginning, as you can imagine, coming directly from a kind of small farm or rural area from India directly to one of the prestigious kind of institutes like Penn State. A lot of things were different. There was a big cultural shock. The way to dress up was different. The food was different. And then how different words were pronounced. It was a little bit kind of intimidating in the beginning, especially during the first couple of weeks, because my first day in the Penn State was not at the campus. Basically, there was a 10-day off-campus insect kind of field trip where we spend a whole day and night out of the campus. So the first few kind of days were a little bit intimidating, nervous, but then I got used to kind of that time spent with all the other grad students was, I think, very useful. Eventually, I got over my initial inhibition, and then it was kind of smooth sailing afterwards. There were some awkward experiences as well during the field research. I remember one time when I was doing some sample collection near honeybee apiary at the campus, actually a little bit outside the campus. And I had my kind of surgical gloves on. I was doing some sampling for some molecular work, had a camera in my hand, and somebody looked at, hey, here is a kind of Asian guy doing some kind of weird stuff. They called the cops on me. And it was a little bit kind of awkward encounter, but I had to kind of call my advisor and get that resolved. But thanks to my PhD advisor, Ed Rajat, and as well as Diana Cox-Foster, also our kind of department head, Gary Felton, and others, they made my stay very kind of comfortable. Especially Ed Rajat is very kind of sportive, very understanding. I learned a lot, made a lot of kind of good memories, good friendship during my stay, got introduced to American football for the first time. There's a kind of whole gambit of entomology courses that I took to build a very kind of solid entomology kind of base. The courses range from kind of insect physiology or ecology, plant kind of insect pathology or chemical ecology, insect pest management or integrated pest management, to name the few. I learned my kind of research skills and tools. Other thing which is important is the opportunities of networking and communication. So there are a lot of opportunities during the grad dates to go to these scientific meetings and talk to different people and make a strong kind of network, which comes very handy when you are looking for kind of jobs or trying to build a career after the grad school. I also kind of started raising my family. Two of my kids, they were kind of born in the Happy Valley. I also developed a kind of interest in pollinators that shaped the course of my career during the early days of my stay at Penn State. Did a lot of hands-on experience with bees, got introduced to this colony collapse disorder phenomenon in the early kind of days. And when I decided to focus on pollinators, one day I called my dad back in India and I told him that yeah, I'm going to start working on bees. And his initial reaction was that, didn't you find anything else to do? I think that's the difference of perspective or kind of lack of awareness. It took me some time to convince that pollinators are very kind of critical component of the ecosystem and agriculture, and it's an important topic. But long story short, I did my PhD research on ecology and epidemiology of RNA viruses in pollinator community, working with honeybees, bumblebees, as well as kind of solitary bees. And then I joined Penn State. Then I joined the chemical industry and joined BASF after completing my PhD. There were some initial kind of challenges at the agrochemical industry, especially there is a negative kind of a little bit of negative perception of the industry. People think they only care about sales and stuff. But my experience there has been so good so far. I feel like there are a lot of high quality researchers or scientists which work in industry, a lot of high quality research, either conducted or funded by the industry. And especially if you work in research and development, you have a lot of freedom to operate as purely as a scientist. And most of our day-to-day decisions are based on science and data. And there's huge, lately, because these chemical companies, they have lots at kind of stake. They have a lot of reputation at stake. So they kind of pay a lot of attention to the environmental safety and sustainability. There are a lot of opportunities to kind of interact with global regulatory agencies like EPA or European EFSA. A lot of opportunities to lead or contribute to global projects or task force like Crop Life America or Pollinator Research Task Force. Opportunities to work on innovative ideas like RNAi-based pest control or insect repellent-based bee-safe formulations. I feel very satisfied working in the current position because I feel like it gives me opportunity to put my broad agriculture background and scientific skills to good use to kind of help farmers or to give something back to the community where I belong to, and also help blend my passion for agriculture and the environment. Am I running over time or do we still have a few minutes?
We don't have a ton of time, so
all right,
just speed round.
Just maybe 2 more minutes. So working in the agrochemical industry, there is, I think, one other misconception that the minorities may not be well represented, but I felt that industry has come along a lot way in the last couple of decades. They pay a lot of attention on diversity and inclusion. They make everybody feel at home. Personally, there are a lot of kind of employee resource group that you can become part of. In this picture, we are celebrating one of the Indian festivals, Diwali, and then there's another picture of celebrations of one of the Chinese New Year kind of festivals. And I feel like you can be yourself working in the industry. That's not a problem anymore. And from work-life balance as well, I think it is easy to maintain a good work-life balance. Especially during the COVID years, we were able to work mostly from home, but still we are working under this hybrid work program where you can go to the office for 2 or 3 days a week, but you can still work from home rest of the time. And my son loves playing baseball, so I still kind of find plenty of time to help him practice baseball. And I also love gardening, and I love to spend time in my backyard garden growing vegetables. So long story short, I feel like it's not maintaining a good work-life balance is not a problem if you're working or looking for industry. And my last slide here, there are a lot of opportunities for entomologists in the ag chemical industry. You can join any of the major, so there are a lot of openings always available in the major ag chemical industries like ChemChina or Syngenta, Bayer, BASF, Dow, FMC. You can work as in the research and development for insecticides as lab technicians, managers, or field biologists, which perform these efficacy trials. You can work in something like as an ecotoxicologist, similar to my position, or registration manager, or marketing manager, or sales reps. So if anybody's interested, you can go to the career sites of these companies. So BASF has its career site, which provide a lot of information to professionals or recent graduates, or even have internship opportunities for the students. You can just sign in and build your resume there, and you can get kind of emails or alerts if new jobs similar to your interest they get open. And with that, I would like to end, and I apologize for going over a little bit, but I will be available for kind of discussion later in the afternoon if you have any questions that I'd be happy to answer.